Roguewave's an FPS roguelite that we started as a community activity on our Discord channel. Originally it was planned for about 10 days, including the December holidays, and in that time we managed to put together a little prototype. It was pretty good. It's important to note that this game is a long way from complete. It's been in development for less than a month. It's just a vertical slice. It's not even a complete vertical slice at this point. It's more of a prototype. All of the code and the art and the sound assets are all available under an open source or a Creative Commons license, with the exception of Neo FPS, which is a paid asset store, first-person controller that we're using in there. But everything else is open source. Officially, the project finished on December 29th, 2023, but in reality, the prototype was so good, we kind of carried on with it and are still going now. I've just published a new version, so I just wanted to go over some of the major changes here. We've done a lot of work on the power-up system. Obviously, the power-ups are a core part of a roguelite. Previously, what we were doing is that when you leveled up, you were given a chest, and you went and opened the chest. In that, there would be 3 power-ups, and you pick one of them. Okay, that was great, except that it meant that the flow of the game was being broken. And sometimes the power-up chest was just totally inaccessible, because when you're in the middle of a big battle, that's when you're earning all of the experience points and leveling up. And so your chest would appear, but you might have to withdraw from the battle because you become overpowered. So we fixed that. Well, we think we've fixed it, and we'd love for you to try it out and let us know whether we have or not. What happens now is that when you power up, your nanobots, which are the things that create all of your weapons and ammunition and so on, will offer to call in a new recipe transmission from the home world.
Recipe available. Medical kit.
What this enables them to do is to build that new item. So you only get offered one thing at a time, but if you don't want that thing, you can stop and wait for about 30 seconds at the moment. That might change in time.
Recipe available. Movement speed increase 10%.
You'll get a new offer. What this means is you can sit and you can wait for the perfect power-up recipe to come along, which might never come, of course. Or you can take the one that's, yeah, that's good enough, I'll take it now. So you still get that decision making that you have with offering 3 different items, but you're not having to stop the flow of the game. You just hit a button to say, yes, I'll have that, or you wait for 30 seconds and hit the button later. Another thing that we've changed is the victory rewards. So previously, it was certainly really satisfying to blow up the enemy spawners and see all of the debris fall from that. That was fantastic. But when you got into your next run, and you were choosing your level up there, you found that your resource rewards were actually pretty low, and it was disappointing, you know. We just destroyed all these things. We got so little out of it. What's going on? We did try giving you more time in the victory screen to run around and grab resources, but frankly, that was just boring. I mean, there was nothing there. There was nothing to fight. You were literally just running around. So instead, what we've tried now is we've temporarily boosted the power of the magnet during the victory scene. The magnet pulls in resources that are within a range, so we've increased that range and we've increased the power so they come in faster. And what that means is that within a certain radius, all of the resources are going to come to you automatically during that victory screen. This does mean that there's still an incentive to end the level where there's loads of enemies around you that will drop resources, so you are still encouraged to go into where the battle is happening, but you're not left running around in an empty level once you have killed that spawner. Let us know, does that work? Does it make it more enjoyable? We've also done a whole load of work on game feel. For example, weapon pickups are now instantaneous. You don't have to slow down the game, hold a key down for 5 seconds in order to pick up a weapon that the nanobots have built you. We've also added some visual and audio feedback to things like enemy deaths and player damage, so that's pretty cool. We've also balanced a whole load of the enemies. A lot of that is just tweaking hit points and damage and things like that. But one of the key things that we've changed here is the way lasers work. Previously, laser-equipped enemies did take a little while to lock onto you, and once they were locked on, they never missed. Okay, fine, but it felt really unfair because there was no indication to the player that an enemy was actually locking on, so all they saw was that the enemy shot and they were hit. What we've done in this version is that we've made it that you can now actually see the laser when it's locking on. So you have this orange laser, which is a sensing laser, and you can see it kind of searching for you. When it turns red, it's locked on and it hurts. This also has the added benefit that you can quickly figure out where these enemies are that are locking on you. They're often up in the sky, and so seeing the laser come down in orange form and go, oh, okay, it's up there, and that allows you to quickly readjust your objectives. We've also added in a whole bunch of new buildings. This isn't just adding visual interest. This is doing things like informing the player where the mini spawners are. Previously they looked like any other building and they just happened to have enemies that would come out of them. There was no warning. Now they're a completely different building. You can actually see the spawner inside. We've also added this building here which has a load of nooks and crannies in it so you can actually hide. This is especially useful when you're being swarmed by flying enemies. Talking of flying enemies, in the third level it was proving really hard to compete with the number of laser equipped sources. This is a little better now because of the lock-on that we were talking about earlier on, but we've added an explosive death effect to them, and what this means is that with careful planning you can set off a chain reaction. If you pick the right saucer at the right time, you can kill maybe 5 saucers with a single shot, and that is super satisfying. Also, one really simple but very impactful change is that we've improved the lighting significantly. The deepest shadows are no longer so deep that you can't see the enemy in there, and that actually gives you a fighting chance, as you might imagine. The enemy ballistic weapons had a big advantage over the player in that they could fire on the player immediately upon spawning, but the player had to wait for them to emerge from the shield. This has been resolved by putting a warm-up timer on their firearm. This is long enough to ensure that the enemies have moved outside the shield. However, as the enemies get higher level, we could have buffs that reduce this time, simulating more advanced shields and or weapons that don't interact with one another, so we could bring back that effect of being able to fire from inside of the shield, forcing the player to take action, I guess. We'll see how it plays out as to whether we implement that or not. Some time ago, Chris from Neo FPS had created a new movement upgrade manager, and we weren't really making use of it. I'd added the dash and the grapple, but that was it. So I decided to add in move speed. That required me to refactor what I'd done for the dash and the grapple, but that's fine, that's how these things go. So I refactored it, and we now have a really flexible system for adding in both abilities like dash, but also modifiers for the movement speed, dash speed, jump height, that kind of thing. Now that we've got enough upgrades that makes it impossible to remember what you already have, we needed to help the player decide what to buy between levels. So the hub screen now shows a list of upgrades that are already owned, as well as the options that are available. Another cool update to the upgrade system is the addition of dependencies between recipes. So, for example, we can, and now do, have an upgrade for shields that make them more effective. But you can only get this upgrade if you've already found the Shield 1 upgrade. That allows for true character progression. Okay, that's enough for now. That isn't all we've done. We've a whole load of other stuff that we've done in here, but I'm not going to talk about them all. They're all fun, or we believe them to be. So go check them out. Join us on Discord. See what you think. Bye.